Our story begins in 1772 London. While most people consider this era to be the height of British culture, for some it was a time of great despair, namely those who lived under the oppressive rule of King George II. The king's policies alienated much of the nobility, who felt that their power and status were being diminished. As a result, they began plotting against him. And while many of their schemes failed, one group of aristocrats found success through an unusual enterprise. It was here where politics, occultism, and exploitation collided and gave birth to the most infamous, hedonistic society of its time. It was a sex club, but not just any kind of sex club. It was a sex club where members practiced sadistic sexual acts with underage boys and girls. They called it the Hellfire Club, and you won't believe what went down in its secret chambers. The Hellfire Club's origins can be traced back to the notorious St. James's Cave in London's St. James Park. Initially, the cave had been used by dissident politicians to meet away from the prying eyes of King George II's spies. However, when the politicians were discovered and forced to disperse, the cave became the property of Sir Francis Dashwood, a wealthy aristocrat with a penchant for the occult. It was here in the dimly lit depths of the cave that Dashwood and his associates would hold their blasphemous gatherings, which combined elements of satanic worship with orgies. It all started rather innocently enough. Dashwood, along with fellow nobles Henry Seymour, John Hervey, simply wanted somewhere private to meet and discuss politics away from the judgmental stares of society. But after a few meetings, things took a darker turn. Dashwood, a Freemason, introduced the group to secret rituals and symbols of the occult, which they incorporated into their meetings. Soon, the group had taken on the trappings of a satanic cult, complete with blood sacrifices, pentagrams and incantations to Satan. The aristocratic members, bored with the constrictions of polite society, embraced the chance to indulge in their darkest desires. There were no rules or consequences in the cave, allowing them to revel in their own degeneracy without fear of reprisal. But it was the presence of beautiful women that truly set the cave apart from other debauched clubs of the era. Prostitutes and underage boys were brought into the club for the pleasure of its members, who indulged in every vice imaginable. At these parties, men and women dressed as hairy wild men and seductive she-devils danced around naked boys and girls, as they performed blasphemous rituals in honor of the 7 deadly sins. Members were encouraged to dress in costumes representing each sin and engage in activities associated with them. Music, poetry, and theatrics also played a significant role in these orgies, with performances often depicting lurid and scandalous scenes. Dashwood, the leader of the club, reveled in the chaos. A large man with a booming laugh, he presided over the orgies with a mixture of authority and lechery. Despite his advanced age, he was said to have been a prolific lover, bedding both male and female participants in the cave. The other members were equally depraved, with each bringing their unique brand of debauchery to the club. One member, Lord Heron, was rumored to have chained women to chariots like horses and whipped them as they pulled him around. Another, the Earl of Winchilsea, delighted in throwing gold coins from a tower, enjoying the sight of common folk fighting over the riches. While the club's membership was predominantly male, there were a few notable female participants. One of the most prominent was the Duchess of Queensberry, a former actress who was known for her beauty and wit. She was a regular fixture at the club's orgies, where she participated in the blasphemous rituals and orgies with abandon. Despite her high status, she was not above engaging in the most base and degrading acts. On one occasion, she was seen crawling on all fours while wearing a mask with horns, simulating a beast in heat. As the club gained notoriety, more and more aristocrats were drawn to its hedonistic lifestyle. Among them was the Prince of Wales, later King George III, who joined the club despite his mother's best efforts to keep him away from its corrupting influence. The young prince was particularly drawn to the club's occult rituals, which he found fascinating and mysterious. He was also eager to participate in the orgies, which offered him a chance to escape the strictures of royal life and indulge in his own desires. However, as the club grew in size and influence, it attracted the attention of the authorities. The rumors of satanic worship, sexual depravity, and political intrigue were too much for the government to ignore. A series of raids was conducted on the club's meeting places, but the members proved elusive, slipping through the fingers of the law. Despite the raids, the club's activities did not cease. In fact, it went underground, becoming even more secretive and exclusive than before. One of the main reasons for the club's continued existence was the vast wealth of its members. They were able to bribe officials, intimidate witnesses, and ensure that those who stumbled upon their activities were silenced. Moreover, the club's leaders were cunning and resourceful, always one step ahead of the authorities. They were able to anticipate the government's moves and take evasive action, preserving the secrecy of their society. The Hellfire Club's reign of debauchery and political intrigue lasted for several decades, during which time it exerted an outsized influence on British society. Its members were involved in everything from art and literature to politics and finance. The club's salons were a hub of intellectual discussion and debate, attracting some of the brightest minds of the era. However, beneath this veneer of sophistication and culture, the club's true purpose remained: a secret society of aristocrats indulging in the darkest corners of human desire. Despite the best efforts of its members, the Hellfire Club's activities eventually came to light, leading to a scandal that shook the foundations of British society. The revelations about the club's satanic rituals, sexual excesses, and political machinations caused an uproar among the public and the elite alike. The members were denounced and shunned, their reputations ruined by the scandal. Many of them were forced to flee the country, never to return. Others were arrested and charged with crimes, although the charges were eventually dropped due to lack of evidence. In the aftermath of the scandal, the Hellfire Club's influence waned and it eventually dissolved. Its legacy, however, lived on in the form of stories and legends that were passed down through the generations. The tales of the club's debauchery and corruption became a cautionary reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and the corrupting influence of absolute freedom. Today, the Hellfire Club is remembered as one of the most notorious and decadent societies of all time. Its members were the epitome of the aristocratic excess that characterized the 18th century. Their orgies and rituals were the stuff of legend, and their depravity and corruption knew no bounds. The club's story has captured the imagination of writers, filmmakers, and historians alike, with numerous books and documentaries exploring its rise and fall. It remains a fascinating and disturbing chapter in British history, a reminder of the dark side of human nature that exists even among the elite and powerful. So what do you think? Were the members of the Hellfire Club merely overindulgent aristocrats seeking to escape the confines of society? Or were they something more sinister? A cabal of Satanists using their wealth and power to indulge in the darkest of rituals? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more historical tales. Thanks for watching.